So my 30 female stepbrother, Sam, 30, and his girlfriend, Jane, 28, got caught up in some illegal stuff. They are looking at 8 to 10 years with a plea. They have a daughter, Natalie. With their court date coming up, Sam and Jane asked Dad and Stepmom to continue caring for Natalie during their sentence. Sam and Jane were supposed to find a permanent place, but Jane's family said no. The issue is, Dad is legally blind and Stepmom has cancer. Neither one of them is capable of caring for a child long term. My stepmom is extremely exhausted from chemo and can barely get out of bed most days, so Natalie is pretty much stuck in the house all day. My dad tries, but he cannot drive, so the furthest they go are walks around the house. Now, I own my house, so I have a room for Natalie. My dad and stepmom called and asked me if I was willing to take in Natalie. My boyfriend is on board. Well, as we discussed it, he made some good points. 8 to 10 years is a long time, and we would be investing a lot of resources and time into Natalie, making sure she has the best opportunities. He then asked, what would happen when they are released? Would she have to go back to her parents? What about her mental well-being and needs? Would we have to fight in court? How would we handle letting her go? I then called a family lawyer, and they suggested having Sam and Jane sign away parental rights. I sat down with Sam and Jane and explained that I would take Natalie, but only under the condition that they sign over their rights with visitations scheduled immediately upon their release. Jane started screaming at me, accusing me of trying to steal her daughter and taking her place. I advised that my intention is only to ensure the betterment of Natalie long term. Sam then said that they were her parents and they knew what was best for her. I said if they did, they would have gotten clean and not done what they did to get jail time. They told me that they would rather her in foster care than sign over rights. I said okay and left. Now Jane's family is on social media making posts that I'm trying to steal their sister's child, etc. They were calling my phone a lot to tell me off, so I told them if they cared so much, then they can take her. My dad, stepmom, boyfriend, and family agrees with me. I told some of my friends about this, and they are all saying that I am wrong for using Sam and Jane's problems to strip them of their child. Now I'm wondering if I'm wrong or taking it too far. I feel bad because if I don't take her, she will end up in the foster care system. I know she isn't my daughter, but I will be raising her during the most crucial developmental time, and I really don't want her potential wasted like her parents. Am I the idiot for wanting them to sign over rights? Not the idiot. Of course, I have to admit, asking for them to fully give up parental rights is a bit extreme, but from the context, it sounds like it's what's best for the kid, and that's what matters here. And you're right, if they knew what was best for her, they wouldn't have helped themselves and gotten help earlier. You are not the idiot here. They're going to prison for a long time. You can't be in a position to let anyone contest your guardianship over Natalie. And by the sounds of it, someone would likely crawl out of the woodwork eventually. Natalie needs a home she is safe in. This way makes it easiest for you and safest for you and Natalie. You're under no obligation to help. And the fact Jane would rather have her daughter go into foster care shows she doesn't understand the system. If anything happens in prison, Natalie could be swallowed up by the system and all but disappear. Regardless when they get out, Natalie will be nearly adult and may want nothing to do with them. At least in your care, she'll be raised with family. Or it shows that Jane really doesn't care about her child. She's choosing her own selfish pride over the safety and love her child needs. You are not the idiot. I'd let CPS know you are willing to take her if they lose the rights to their child. They've been arrested, charged with a crime, and looking at prison time. Trust me, CPS is involved. CPS may move to involuntarily strip their parental rights anyway. If that happens, they'll have no say what happens to their child once the state takes custody. My 41 female brother, 39, and sister-in-law have 2 kids, while my husband and I are child-free by choice. I have no issues with kids. I just didn't want my own, and my husband and I enjoy a life where we are the fun aunt and uncle rather than parents. My husband and I have zero issue with taking my niece and nephew for a night or two to give my brother and sister-in-law a break, but we enjoy our peace and quiet, so we try not to do this all the time. My brother has had cutbacks at his company, so my sister-in-law started working part-time to help with some of the bills. My niece and nephew are going to school online for obvious reasons, so they need help with childcare. My brother asked if we would be willing to watch them during the day, since my husband and I both work from home, and we agreed with the promise that it would be temporary until they could find other childcare arrangements. That was 4 months ago. I have a massive trial coming up and have been working between 70 to 80 hours per week to prepare. I spoke with my brother and sister-in-law multiple times and informed them that I cannot continue overseeing my niece and nephew's schooling and working, and they really need to find someone else to watch them because it is just too much for me to handle at the moment. It came to a head yesterday when I had an important client meeting and my niece and nephew started arguing over a TV remote. My husband was on a work call and could not take care of it, so I had to get up in the middle of a meeting to handle it. When my sister-in-law came to pick them up, I informed her that they have 2 weeks to find childcare because I cannot watch them anymore. I told her that this was affecting my job performance and it was not fair of them to put me in this position. My sister-in-law called me selfish and said that I was uncaring. My brother called me and told me that I have no compassion for what they are going through and that he needs my help. I told him that if it was financial, I am more than willing to chip in for a nanny or au pair to watch them during the day for their schooling. But that just made him angrier. He accused me of flaunting my wealth. Now my sister-in-law put in her 2 weeks notice at her job, and my brother is blaming me and saying it's my fault if they end up homeless. Am I the idiot for telling them that they need to find new childcare? Not the idiot. Your brother and sister-in-law, however, are losers. They sound like a bunch of freeloaders. And sister-in-law quit her work instead of finding someone else? Over dramatic. I feel sorry for the kids. You obliged temporarily. They agreed 4 months ago to find a more permanent solution. You also gave them 2 weeks to find something else. You didn't just drop it on them today that from tomorrow you can't look after the kids. You also offered to help with any cost. They took advantage of you and husband. Sounds like they're under serious pressure financially, but that doesn't mean they have to take it out on you when all you did was help them. You are not wrong here. Not the idiot. Would they expect you to bring the children to trial with you? The problem is, working at home is working. Yet people think because you're at home, you can drop what you're doing because it's not actual work if it's at home. They are just mad because they've gotten so used to entitled behavior, they can't fathom not being able to be entitled anymore. My family and I live in a suburban area where the houses are very close together. My family is me, my stepsister Julia, my mom and my stepdad. Julia and I are in high school. A month ago, Julia and I were sitting on my bed watching a movie, and she saw a red blinking light across the street in the neighbor's window. She and I joked about how creepy it would be if it was a camera. The next day, when it was light out, we saw it actually was a camera, one of those front door cameras. It was pointed out towards the street, but because of how close all the houses are, it was definitely pointed towards the front door of our house, including our bedroom windows. Julia and I went to the neighbor's house to talk, but they didn't answer the door several times, even though they were home. So we wrote them a note saying, "Hi, can you please take down the camera?" and left it stuck on their door. They didn't move it, so we wrote another note a week later saying, "Hi neighbors, can you please take down your camera or move it so it is not facing the girls' bedroom windows?" and stuck it on their door. We didn't know this at the time, but this kicked up a lot of fuss. We'd written the note on a sheet of printer paper in markers, and it was legible enough from a distance that the neighbors accused us of making a sign. The next week, we wrote a note saying, "Please move your camera so it is not looking into the bedroom windows of neighboring girls." This is the third time we have asked. This is becoming very uncomfortable. At this point, the neighbors came to our house really mad. Julia and I were out, but apparently they blew up at my stepdad, saying Julia and I were putting signs on their house, accusing them of filming us in the windows of our bedrooms, when they just had a security camera installed to watch their own property and cars in the street. And that, yes, it caught the front door of our house, but it was incidental. They also accused us of trying to write the notes pretending to be parents. We were not. We were just trying to be mature and firm, and also trying to hide our identities by wearing hoods and masks. We are not. It is below freezing here, and there is a global issue. My stepdad got mad at us when we got home for going behind his back, trespassing to walk to the neighbor's door, posting a lot of inflammatory signs on their door, etc. He said we were to leave the neighbors alone. I said we wanted to be left alone too. We thought they were being creepy, and he just blew up at us and basically stopped talking reasonably to us at all. Just started screaming and adding more and more punishment whenever a word came out of either of our mouths, calling it back talk. Am I the idiot for having written notes to the neighbors about their camera that we didn't like pointing towards our house and bedroom windows? For everyone saying they probably couldn't see anything, their camera has a resolution comparable to my cell phone camera. We checked the brand, and we tried standing at the same distance, angle, with my cell phone from a window and could see a lot. You are the idiot. Just because it has the same resolution doesn't mean it has the same focal point. A doorbell camera doesn't normally focus far enough out to be able to make out details through windows across the street. Also, you should have gone to your mother and stepfather about this first. Anyone walking by your house can see in your windows too. Are you going to accost all of them? If you are doing things in your bedroom that shouldn't be seen, you are supposed to use your curtains. You are such an idiot. I don't know why everyone here is giving you such a hard time for this. You did try to talk to them directly, but they didn't open the door. So you wrote a note, but they didn't resolve the problem or respond. It's completely reasonable to not want to be alert constantly in your private space because of a potential recording. They could easily have set your mind at ease by showing you an example recording if they can't really see in, but they didn't do anything to resolve the issue, and that's why it escalated. You are not the idiot here. As a young woman or person, she has the right to quiet enjoyment of her own home. She has the right to privacy in her own room. The fact that the neighbor didn't come out and tell the girls that the camera doesn't look into their rooms or even show them what the view does look like speaks volumes to me. Everyone here is so quick to make OP feel less because she is young and also a woman. But what else could she do? She left notes to communicate with the neighbor, who refuses to address the issue face to face and is now being told to put up and shut up. I would check the laws in your local area about camera placement on private property and consider filing a police report, OP. You are not the idiot. For reasons I won't go into, I've recently come into a lot of money. I have 6 siblings, and 5 of them have some sort of debt, such as credit cards or loans that need repaying. Outside of student loans, I use the amount of debt they have to work out how much each one of them would get. I didn't include student loans because student loans aren't real loans where we are, as in you only repay them after you're earning $26K per year, and the repayment amount is minuscule. I directly paid off any of my siblings' debts that weren't their student loans, the cost of which ranged from $2,000 to $16,000 for each of my siblings, then put the rest of the money into various things. I consulted a financial advisor and worked out several uses for the money that I'm very happy with. The one sibling I didn't give money to has the most student debt, but no other debts at all, as the student debt he incurred allowed him to go into a higher paying field. This means he's pretty much set. He has a wife who earns a similar income. He's paid off all his debts, including the mortgage on his house. He has a lot of money in savings. The only thing he pays for still is his student loan. He feels it's unfair that he was the only sibling to not receive any money at all, and that I owe him the equivalent of what I gave our other siblings to make up for it. I refused, and he called me an idiot and said that this was my way at getting back at him, as I am clearly jealous of his success. I'm not, and that if I was trying to be a good person, then I wouldn't leave one and only one sibling out of everything. I said he was being a real idiot about this, and that he should suck it up, because as one of the more successful siblings, he should acknowledge that this means he needs the least help of anyone, and it's selfish to expect me to give him money for no reason. While the other siblings agree with me, my brother and his wife and dad all feel that my choice here was unfair, as, in their opinion, I am punishing my brother for making better choices than me and our other siblings, and I should throw a couple of grand his way to make up for it, as I can afford it. The money is accessible to me, and this will prevent a wedge being driven between us. They feel that I am being unfair by making him lose out when his only crime is being more successful than the rest of us. But other siblings have taken out loans to keep their electric on or pay their rent. A couple of them work in hospitality, restaurants, bars, holiday parks, and most of them aren't eligible for furlough. So with the shutdown, They've had reduced or no income for over a year. They've had some savings, but it only goes so far. So they've had to take out loans from sharks with high interest rates just to keep the lights on. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Sure, you don't owe him anything, so you're not legally wrong or anything, but that was pretty crappy. Your family was right. You are punishing him for making better choices. If I were you, I would have done something nice for him. You paid off debt for your siblings, which wasn't the same as putting money in their hands to spend. It was a gift. You could have come up with a thoughtful gift for your successful brother as a way to acknowledge that you respect his hard work and good choices. It's really hard to look at the situation and not think that there is something else going on here. It doesn't make sense to me that you would purposely omit your brother unless there were hard feelings already present. Not the idiot. Based on other siblings are in debt due to global situation-related income reductions, OP is paying off loans that they took out to pay rent, etc. I get that sixth sibling feels singled out, but they should focus on feeling grateful they've kept their job. Otherwise, it's like complaining that one of your siblings is getting unemployment from the government and you get nothing. You get nothing because you don't need it. You're still employed. You are not wrong. No one is entitled to a gift. And in this case, the gift on offer just didn't apply to him. It's like you bought a crib for your sibling who is having a baby, and your other sibling is complaining that they deserved a gift in lieu. No. This wasn't a choose your own gift, any gift situation. He should be giving you props for helping out your siblings who were worse off. It's super narcissistic that he's fabricating a rivalry to make you feel bad. My wife and I just lost our second baby. Our daughter lived for only a month due to a medical condition. We didn't get to take her home, but we have a few pictures of her. It's difficult trying to get used to living like that, but we have no choice. My wife and I missed out on some family events, including my brother's wedding. Everyone was being considerate and gave us enough space to regain strength. I work long hours and night shifts while my wife stays at home. I was on shift the day of my brother's wedding. A few days ago, my mom and sister were complaining about my brother's fiance, no child rule, and they wanted someone to watch the kids for a few hours. My sister suggested that we do that, but I told her I had work and my wife wasn't up to it. And I really thought that was the end of discussion. On the day of the wedding, I left home for work at 3. I got a call from my wife at 5, telling me my cousin just came and dropped 6 kids off from my family at our house and told her that he'd come back to pick them up later. I was livid. I went home and I started calling my sister, cousin, and sister-in-law to come pick their kids up right then. They kept stalling, but I demanded they tell my cousin to turn around and come pick the kids up. Instead, they started showing up one by one, taking their kids, cussing me out, claiming I was overreacting since my wife didn't say anything. My wife doesn't know how to say no, so it's on me to set boundaries, although it's hard with them calling me the problem. My parents said I caused the family to miss most of my brother's wedding by looking for someone else to watch the kids, and basically blamed me for refusing to take the kids for just a few hours, saying I don't understand because I don't have kids and I don't know how hard it is. That line cut too deep. I've already had 2 kids that I lost. Everyone's arguing with me for causing them this issue on the wedding and said I ruined it instead of doing this one little favor. I sent a mass text telling them that they can start blaming each other instead of us after I told them we couldn't watch the kids. Now they won't even want to see me. Was I the idiot for what I did? Holy smokes, you are not the idiot. I don't understand how you would possibly think you are. You clearly told them no. They smashed your boundaries, refused to listen, and dumped their kids. When you rightfully insisted that they come get them, they started doubling down and throwing barbed statements. Your family is undoubtedly selfish, petty, and terrible. Don't feel bad for what you did. Just because they're blood doesn't mean they aren't capable of being awful. Let's bombard 2 grieving parents mere weeks after they lost their child with 6 kids so we can party at a wedding. Oh no, I would have said some pretty choice word things that would have gotten me a harassment lawsuit. You don't do this, especially to 2 people who have had both of their children pass. And to say something like, "You don't have kids, so how could you know our struggle?" is absolutely disgusting. They knew what you and your wife have been through, and to throw that in your face? Oh God, no! I would have cut them off so fast, they would have split in 2.